So working with nonprofits, this is something that I started out doing years ago, and I'm glad I did it. And I didn't think about this, but I covered up my videos covering up the Lone Star Bowhunters logo. I apologize for that. But basically, Hill Country Bowhunters, where I met Marty McIntyre, who introduced me to Mac and Prowler, who introduced me to Texas Fish and Game. If I had not bought that hunt, that bow fishing trip from Texas, from Hill Country Bowhunters, I may have not achieved the amount of success that I had, because not that many things as a God thing would have happened. But Camp Agape, I started volunteering in 2012. Crosswater Outfitters, I built them a website in 2011, started volunteering in 2012, and the Lone Star Bowhunters is relatively recent. It's been basically in 2015, I think I started working with them, and rebuilt their website and did a lot of stuff with them, and I'm now the editor of their magazine, the Lone Star Bowhunters magazine. So I'm working on that this summer to get that out for this fall. But the whole idea here is engaging with nonprofits is a way to give back, network with others, and grow your brand and message. All right. Whatever you're doing, you can obviously test out with a outdoor brand with an outdoor ministry. Okay. If you have a fishing product, working with the fishing ministry is a good idea. If you have a hunting product, working with a bow hunting, association, or anything like that, sponsoring different things. They all have fun shoots or banquets or raffles and stuff like that. You can donate your time, donate a service, donate a product, whatever your brand is trying to promote. They appreciate that, and you will get extra credit for your efforts for doing that too, literally and figuratively, in a lot of ways. So I constantly, Camp Agape does an outdoor clay sporting clay event, and I try to get donations for that. Crosswater Outfitters does their own kind of private fundraising, but Lone Star Bowhunters has a banquet. Hill Country Bowhunters has a fun shoot. All those things I try to garner donations for and just try to drive business to. And the cool thing about this is whatever content you create, it's a good testing ground on engaging with people. All right, and I don't mean this in kind of a bad way. I just mean this as you can try a lot of stuff out with your video and your articles and your podcasts and every way that you approach social media by using the work that you do with nonprofits. All right, and that's not to give yourselves a pat on the back and not to show how good you are and how much good you're doing in the world. That's not that at all. The idea is that you're giving back, and that's something that I'm really big about, because the industry has been so good to me, and I've been so blessed in so many different ways. The whole idea is I want to give back and be a blessing to other people, no matter who they are or where they come from. So that's why I'm really big about giving back and engaging with social media and other media with nonprofits. So that's very important. And all of this being said, with whatever content you create, with whatever means you use to create it, the best legacy is better than currency. Sam Crowley says that, and he may have borrowed that from somebody else knowing him, but I love that guy. You want to leave a legacy that will impact generations not even born yet. That's one thing I've really been about. This is where this gets deep, okay? I've talked about the practicalities, I've talked about all that stuff ad nauseum, but the main thing that you're going to want to learn through all this is legacy is everything. That's one thing that I try to do with the people that I touch through the TV world, through the hunting ranch and guide and outfitting world, through the success in the outdoor industry world, and through the urban bow hunting world and everything else that I've written about. I'm all about educating, inspiring, motivating, helping, but also I'm about leaving that legacy, and especially leaving that legacy with kids. I'm really big about people like the charities I just mentioned, bringing the archery sports into schools, bringing the shooting sports into schools wherever that's possible, bringing different things like that, because it's important going forward that we preserve the sports. Fishing is blowing up, hunting is declining. And it's one of those things where I want hunting to continue to thrive, and I want fishing to continue to thrive. And a lot of people that fish don't hunt, but a lot of people that hunt do fish. And that's just a simple example. Obviously, this is true for camping, hiking, the outdoors, totally enjoying God's creation. If you don't like that, I've always said, you're weird. But, just getting people outdoors and getting people to enjoy God's creation and commune with God and nature is something I'm really big about. But the best legacy is better than currency. That's so true, because if you want to leave a legacy, you leave it in the hearts of the people that you eventually leave behind, and after we die. And that's just kind of a deep part of this series. But the legacy that you are making today is a legacy you will leave the generations to come tomorrow. And that's something that I make a huge deal about, guys, on my podcast and elsewhere. The writing work that I do and that kind of stuff. What kind of legacy are you working to leave the generations ahead of you? What kind of legacy are you wanting to leave in the hearts of the people that you will leave behind one day? That is the best currency, in my humble opinion, is that legacy. So definitely look at your life as the legacy and see the legacy that you're leaving, because that's going to do a couple of things. It's going to bring to you meaningfulness in life. It's going to bring to you purpose and your message, your purpose in your message. Like for me, I've wanted to build a course for a long time, but I just didn't know on what. And when I started writing this last ebook, I was just kind of like, duh, I'll just do a course on success in the outdoor industry. And it just came to me naturally. That's part of the legacy that I want to leave behind. And also significance. Significance is the second thing. It is so important, guys, to have significance in life. It's kind of like the Harvard study of the guys that went through and dug a ditch one day and then went and covered it up the next day, or dug a ditch in the morning and then covered it up in the afternoon, and went and dug another ditch the next morning and covered it up that afternoon. The meaningfulness of that whole crew, you could see the morale decrease, because they weren't doing anything with lasting impact. They weren't doing anything that was good. They weren't doing anything that was purposeful. They were just, digging a hole and covering it up. And it's a good example of what legacy is all about. Is legacy is making that impact on generations you'll never even meet. And that's something I'm really big about, guys. Is just having that legacy with your family, with your grandkids, with your future grandkids of your grandkids. That's a cool thing about the life that we lead, is that we can leave behind great things for the next generation. That's one thing that I want to leave with you. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching and reading. Have an awesome day in the outdoors.